What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman, aka Allfires. An enormous bombshell dropping within the last couple of hours from the same source who tried to tell us this once before, a year and a half ago. We covered that original interview, an old one at that, with Tyrese Gibson starring in the upcoming Sony's Morbius. He's doubling down again in his most recent interview, again breaking within hours that indeed Morbius is set in the MCU, and when asked to clarify if this is the same world as the Avengers, he doubled down, and coming from a reputable editorial source at that. We're going to break down the entirety of the interview, what dialogue was exactly used, what Tyrese said about Morbius being set in the MCU, and then speculate just a little bit as to what this means bigger picture for what we're about to see in the upcoming live action Into the Spiderverse and No Way Home, how all these villains may crossover and continue to crossover, and where Tom Holland's Peter Parker may be left after the film. We're going to break it all down, but first, if you could grab the subscribe button. We're still giving away a PlayStation 5 now at 900,000 subscribers, as well as Disney Plus subscriptions every Friday while the shows are live, and of course tonight we'll do the live watch-along party, so if you're staying up to watch Loki when it goes live, stop by the YouTube channel. You watch it at home while we watch it here. We have discussion afterwards. We're also giving away, in light of Loki's release, a CGC signature series, Avengers 118, graded in a 9.4, signed by Tom Hiddleston and Elizabeth Olsen, Loki and Scarlet Witch, who happen to feature side by side on the cover and in the story. CGC Signature Series means that CGC, the same company that graded this comic, was there in person when it was signed by both of these actors. So if you want to be entered to win the comics, the PlayStation 5, any of the other giveaways, all the same rules will always apply. Hit that subscribe button, then leave a comment down below, and if you want, stick around to the end of the video. We'll get into all the giveaway stuff again there, or stop by the channel tonight. We'll have some live discussion and watch Loki when it goes live at 3 a.m. Eastern, 12 Pacific. Now, this story actually stems back almost 2 full years at this point. You'll remember in summer of 2019, when Marvel fandom was at an all-time high. Avengers Endgame had just come out and absolutely smashed box office records across the board. Then we had that insane San Diego Comic-Con 2019 announcement, where not only did they introduce Marvel TV via Disney Plus, but a ton of titles, more than we'd ever think we'd get for Marvel Phase 4. Kevin Feige even name-dropped the Fantastic Four and Mutants on stage. But then right after that, a nightmare happened, a falling out between Sony and Disney, and for a time there, it looked like Tom Holland's Peter Parker would be headed out of the MCU. Now, after a month or so, they were able to reconcile. And one of the first videos we did here at the channel was an exclusive in collaboration with industry insider Mikey Sutton, who said that Sony's ultimate plan and one of the bargaining chips they would have come to the table with to keep Tom Holland's Peter Parker in the MCU was combining their Sony Spider-Verse that was desperately in need of a Spider-Man with the MCU. Then press the fast forward button almost 3 or 4 months later, when Tyrese Gibson is on the Comic Kings radio show and is talking about his upcoming Morbius opinion, and dropped the fact that Morbius was indeed in the MCU, making good on seeing Adrian Toomes' Vulture, and also adding to the confusion of seeing Sam Raimi's Spider-Man as a graphic during the trailer, which we had already seen and we had already talked about. At this point, no one truly knew what was going on. Well, Tyrese Gibson said clearly at that time it was in the MCU, and now in his most recent interview that broke again in the last couple of hours, he's doubled down on that, using express language coming at a time when the Spider-Verse is under so much attention and contention, and saying, hey, look, Morbius is in the MCU. This is what he told comicbook.com about Morbius in his most recent interview. Talking to comicbook.com ahead of F9's release, quote, Gibson was asked if Morbius was part of the MCU. Yes, he said simply. To be sure, we went ahead and clarified. Are the Avengers a part of this world? Yes, the actor affirmed. It's the first time somebody has definitively ruled on the subject one way or another, and is certainly an interesting development is Morbius' build in association with Marvel in its trailer, a typical distinction from the actual Marvel Studios logo we see on MCU films. Now, he went on to say that he thinks a lot of people are going to be shocked, and with this definitive yes, it's in the MCU, that confirms that the Adrian Toomes Vulture that we saw during the Morbius trailer is the Adrian Toomes Vulture from the MCU. Now, is he a variant? Well, questions questions linger because of what we've seen recently in the Loki series, but what I will say is that original exclusive that made it sound like they needed a way to get a Peter Parker into Sony Spider-Verse as a deal for keeping Tom Holland in the MCU seems to be finally coming to fruition. Now, I want to bring up a heavily held theory when the title for Spider-Man No Way Home was finally revealed by Sony and real recently. Some people thought that No Way Home could refer to the status of Tom Holland's Peter Parker during or even after the film, that he could find himself now on what we know is one of these other multiversal timelines, perhaps Sony Spider-Verse, perhaps the Morbius film, in which he's stuck there and can't get home back to the MCU continuity, which we're still holding out for. They told us it wasn't 616, but we've seen some Easter eggs for 616 real recently in the TVA, thinking that may refer to the total prime timeline. I don't want to go down on that theory road. We'll end up talking about that for 10 minutes and not coming to any conclusions. The MCU is still educating us and filling us in as to how this all works. However, Tom Holland's Peter Parker perhaps becoming a variant of himself in the Sonyverse, that still wouldn't explain the Tobeyverse or the Andrewverse, or even really the Venom film, how all of this happened as a precursor before the multiverse fractured. Unless it's Sony in the MCU's intention to say that these are alternate timelines due to a Nexus event that's happened real recently, say WandaVision or something else, and these are all timelines to be pruned, but rather happening simultaneously with what's happened. That's right, those old Tobey Maguire films that we all fell in love with and introduced us to Spider-Man almost 2 decades ago are actually happening now as an offshoot from a multiversal event. This is starting to make my brain hurt. I don't believe that they're going to do it. I do believe they'll make it a lot less complicated than that, but No Way Home, given in context of getting stuck over in Sony Spider-Verse as a way to tie that Spider-Verse into the MCU, certainly feels like a fix, and given all that we know now, which is limited, and hopefully we'll find out a lot more tonight during Loki, well, that seems like an obvious play. Guys, let me know all your thoughts down in the comments. It seems complicated, but it seems obvious, right? And are you stopping by the channel tonight to come watch Loki? You watch at home as I watch here. We have a bunch of after discussion. Last week, we got up to our highest viewership ever. It was amazing. Then my internet gave out. I'm pretty sure it's going to be solid this week. I hope to see you guys tonight. And quickly, let's get into the giveaway stuff again before I let you go. We're still giving away a PlayStation 5 now at 900,000 subscribers, Disney Plus subscriptions every week while the shows are live, and this brand new Avengers 118 graded in a 9.4, signed by the Scarlet Witch Elizabeth Olsen and Loki Tom Hiddleston. This is CGC Signature Series, so they're there in person verifying the autographs before they grade it. They won't do it otherwise. If you want to be entered to win any of the prizes, including the PlayStation, all the same rules will always apply for future prizes as well. All you have to do, hit the sub button, then leave a comment down below. Because it's truly random, the more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. All winners will be announced and selected at the end of videos, the same segment we're doing here. The best way to keep up with the content has always been to hit the notification bell with notifications turned on, and as always, if you like today's video, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit the like button. My name's Michael Roman. You can find me over on Instagram and Twitter at IamFires. You can find me on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, Apple, anywhere you get your original music under the name Allfires, and I actually have a new single dropping real soon. I'm super excited to share with you guys. Thanks so much for checking out the channel, guys, and stick around. We'll be posting again real soon.